Warning: Angelica is at the center of a scandal. The trauma of betrayal, secret tears, and the question, can she restore the past? New twists and turns that will make your heart race faster. Part 9, only here. Don't forget the bell.
Chapter 9. Bittersweet Realizations. As the first golden rays of dawn peeked through the tinted windows, Angelica stirred from her restless slumber, her eyes puffy and red from the tears that had consumed her through the long, lonely night. The weight of her choices had never felt heavier, the gilded cage she had so eagerly embraced now suffocating her with its oppressive grandeur. Sitting up in the plush bed, Angelica's gaze fell upon the delicate seashell that lay cradled in her palm, a tangible reminder of the life she had once shared with Alex. The smooth contours of the shell felt familiar, a soothing, tactile connection to a simpler time, a time when her dreams and aspirations had been so vastly different from the reality she now inhabited. Closing her eyes, Angelica allowed the bittersweet memories to wash over her. The laughter and quiet moments they had once cherished now tinged with a profound sense of longing and regret. How she wished she could turn back the clock, to recapture the genuine warmth and contentment she had so carelessly discarded in her pursuit of wealth and status. As Angelica's fingers traced the seashell's intricate patterns, a flash of movement outside the window caught her eye. Glancing up, she watched as a lone seagull soared gracefully across the sky, its wings outstretched against the azure backdrop. The sight stirred a familiar ache within her, a yearning for the freedom and simplicity that had once defined her life. Suddenly, a soft knock at the bedroom door interrupted her reverie, and Angelica quickly tucked the seashell back into the nightstand drawer, her expression hardening as she steeled herself for the inevitable intrusion. "My dear, are you quite all right?" her husband's voice called out, the concern in his tone doing little to mask the underlying hint of possessiveness. "I noticed you didn't join me for breakfast this morning." Angelica took a deep breath, her fingers smoothing the delicate silk of her nightgown as she rose from the bed. "Forgive me, darling. I'm afraid I had a bit of a restless night." She forced a smile, her eyes carefully avoiding his gaze. Her husband stepped into the room, his brow furrowed with a mixture of worry and mild irritation. "You know how important it is for us to maintain a united front, my dear. Our social engagements require your full attention and participation." Angelica nodded, her gaze drifting to the ornate mirror that dominated one wall of the bedroom. The reflection that stared back at her was undeniably beautiful, a flawless vision of elegance and sophistication. And yet, beneath the carefully curated veneer, she could see the faint glimmer of a once vibrant spirit, now dimmed by the weight of her choices. "Of course, darling. I'll be ready to join you shortly." Angelica's voice was soft, her words laced with a hint of resignation. As her husband nodded and turned to leave, she found herself once again drawn to the window, her eyes scanning the distant horizon in search of that solitary seagull. In the stillness of the moment, Angelica's thoughts inevitably turned to Alex, the ache in her heart a constant companion. She wondered if he had found the happiness she had so carelessly discarded, if the simple joys they had once shared had brought him the fulfillment she now so desperately craved. Unbidden, the memory of their last encounter on the beach surfaced in her mind, the raw anguish etched into Alex's features, a haunting reminder of the price she had paid for her ambition. She had seen the pain in his eyes, the profound sense of betrayal and loss, and yet, in that moment, her desire for a lavish, glamorous existence had blinded her to the true cost of her decision. As Angelica prepared for the day's social obligations, her movements were methodical, her mind a whirlwind of conflicting emotions. The once familiar rituals of her high society life now felt like a hollow performance, a facade that she struggled to maintain with each passing day. Throughout the day, Angelica found herself caught in fleeting, bittersweet moments, where the paths of her life and Alex's would cross, if only indirectly. As she glided through the grand ballroom of a prestigious charity gala, she caught a glimpse of a man with a similar build and posture, and her heart leapt with a fleeting hope that it might be him. But as the figure turned, she was met with the disappointed realization that it was merely a stranger, a mere echo of the man she had once loved. Similarly, as Angelica perused the glossy pages of a magazine, her gaze landed on a photograph of a couple strolling hand in hand along a sun-drenched beach. Their laughter and carefree expressions a stark contrast to the carefully curated images of her own glamorous life. In that moment, Angelica felt a pang of longing, a wistful desire to recapture the simple pleasures she had once taken for granted. Each of these encounters, these subtle reminders of the life she had left behind, chipped away at the carefully constructed facade that had once defined her. Angelica found herself grappling with a growing sense of disillusionment. The realization that the gilded cage she had so eagerly embraced was ultimately a hollow and unfulfilling existence. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting the city in a warm, golden glow, Angelica found herself drawn to the balcony of her penthouse apartment, her gaze fixed on the distant skyline. From this vantage point, the world below seemed to glitter and sparkle, a dazzling display of wealth and opulence that had once captivated her so completely. And yet, as she stood there, the gentle breeze caressing her face, Angelica felt a profound sense of detachment. The lavish trappings that had once seemed so alluring now felt like a prison, a gilded cage that had stripped her of the very things that had once brought her the greatest joy. Unbidden, the memory of Alex's steadfast presence resurfaced in her mind, a bittersweet reminder of the life she had once shared. She remembered the quiet moments of laughter, the shared dreams, and the genuine connection they had forged over the years. A connection that she had so carelessly discarded in her pursuit of wealth and status. As the evening wore on, Angelica found herself drawn to the television, her gaze fixed on the scrolling news ticker that flashed across the screen. There, amid the constant stream of updates and headlines, she caught a glimpse of Alex's name, a brief mention of a local community event he was involved with. Angelica felt her heart skip a beat, a surge of emotion coursing through her veins as she watched the brief clip, her eyes drinking in the sight of Alex's familiar features. He looked content, his expression serene as he interacted with the other volunteers, a far cry from the anguished man she had last seen on that fateful day on the beach. A bittersweet smile tugged at the corners of Angelica's lips, and she found herself wondering if Alex had indeed found the happiness she had so carelessly discarded. The thought both comforted and pained her, a poignant reminder of the consequences of her choices and the profound impact they had had on both of their lives. As the evening drew to a close and Angelica prepared for bed, she once again retrieved the delicate seashell from its hiding place, its familiar contours a soothing balm against the turmoil of her emotions. Tracing its intricate patterns, she allowed the memories to wash over her. The simple joys she had once shared with Alex, now tinged with a profound sense of regret and longing. In the stillness of the night, Angelica found herself grappling with the weight of her choices, the realization that the gilded cage she now inhabited had come at a far greater price than she had ever anticipated. The lavish lifestyle, the endless accolades and admiration, none of it could fill the void that had taken root in her soul. A void that only the genuine connection and contentment she had once shared with Alex could truly satisfy. As Angelica lay there, the seashell clutched tightly in her hand, she vowed to find a way to reclaim the pieces of herself she had lost, to somehow mend the broken bonds that had once defined her. It would not be an easy task, for the weight of her choices had taken a heavy toll, but she was determined to find a way to fill the void that had taken root in her heart, even if it meant facing the painful consequences of her past decisions. With a deep, steadying breath, Angelica closed her eyes, her mind already racing with the first tentative steps towards reconciliation and redemption. The path ahead was uncertain, but she knew that she could no longer continue living in the gilded cage of her own making. It was time to break free, to reclaim the happiness and fulfillment she had so carelessly discarded all those years ago.
And this was the final part of the Angelica Sage. Pause or no? Did you think it was over? Surprise! More is coming. New stories that will blow your mind. Subscribe, hit the bell, and get ready for drama you can't stop from. Who's next? Maybe her secret sister. Or the same Alex who's plotting revenge. Stay tuned. You won't be bored. Watch for updates.
Sun can't slow down. In the lights we glow. Feel the rush. Take the crown. To the beat we flow. No stop. Can't let up now. The sound is all we know. We are alive in the glow. We are alive in the show. We are alive in the flow. We are alive, feel the power grow. Hands up, no backseat. Under stars we rise. Feel the bass in the heat. Lose sense of time. Can't stop in this heartbeat. Feel the rhythm, close your eyes. We are alive.